from Woodbridge, Virginia, number 0, Layla Jewett. At guard, a 6-foot-tall grad student from North Augusta, South Carolina, number 10, Maya Burns. And at forward, a 6'1" freshman from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, number 11, Ashol Akkad. The head coach of your Knights is Satia Messer. She's assisted by Mike Carey, Chandler McCain, and Tasha Taylor.
Well, live from Addition Financial Arena here in downtown Orlando, Florida, on the campus of the University of Central Florida, it's time for the first basketball broadcast of the 2021-23-24 season for Bethune-Cookman University here on the CatEye Network. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Tervillo. Happy to have your company. Happy to have the company of Bryce Wojnowski. Bryce, it's almost hard to believe it's time for hoops already here in November.
Yeah, Mike, coming from our various opportunities, whether it be volleyball or football, of course, last weekend, to be able to jump right in and be basketball season right in our face like this, it always kind of sneaks up on you, but make no mistake about it. Head coach Janelle Creighton, her staff, her roster, they're locked in, ready to go, and ready to do improvements on what we saw from them last year.
This is a Bethune-Cookman team that stumbled down the stretch, still made the SWAC playoffs for the first time ever, and return a majority of the crew that did get them there. Unfortunately, no Kayla Clark, the starting center tonight. In her place will be Chanel McDonald, the forward from Lake Wales. She'll jump it off at center court. Wildcats in the all-white tonight. Gold stripe down the side, trimmed in maroon, gold numbers, maroon trim. The hometown UCF Knights, led by head coach Satia Messer in her second season, in all black with the white numbers and white trim. They'll go left to right here in this first quarter of play. Just waiting for the officials to get to center court with the ball. Starters for Bethune-Cookman, Kayla White, Cariana Wood, Chanel McDonald, Nia Jordan, and the ever-dangerous Chanel Wilson, the reigning SWAC newcomer of the year. We are just about set to go here from Addition Financial Arena. The ball is tipped. The Knights win the tip. It's still loose at center court. The Wildcats pick it up, and here we go. Kayla White, left wing side, hands to Cariana Woods, top of the key. Here's Chanel Wilson, left-hand side. She'll drive left-hand dribble, kick to the corner. Woods, a 3 on the way, rattles out. McDonald fights for the board, but it's going to be taken away by Timea Ware, the junior from Chicago. First offensive possession for the Knights. Right wing side, here's Jewett. She's guarded by Chanel Wilson. Back to Akot, and it's blocked. A right-hand layup blocked, and a whistle and a foul, though, is called on the back end.
Yeah, Mike, this wasn't a team last year that was necessarily built from the inside, but we know, watching both SWAC men's and women's basketball, it's a very big centered league. You see a lot of emphasis on the front court, and the Wildcats are going to look to see what Chanel McDonald, the newcomer, can provide in place of Kayla Clark.
McDonald only listed as a forward, just 6'2". Wildcats in the front court baseline. Here is McDonald, tries a 10-foot floater, front of the iron, no good. Rebound by Jewett. 0-0. There was no foul in the last play. It was just a UCF player stepped on the out-of-bounds line. Here's the left corner. Peterson with a drive. Right-hand layup good, and the Knights lead 2-0.
Be interesting to see if the Wildcats manage to get down early in this game, if they'll go to the 3 ball like we saw them so much last year, or they'll try to pound it inside.
Wilson, here's baseline. White working down inside. Has to get it up. Floats it back to the top of the arc for Wilson. She'll back up to the UCF logo. Guarded by Peterson, the native of Alabama. Wilson flies to the hoop, contact, and a foul.
Chanel Wilson is just so aggressive with the ball. We saw it last year. If she's not in the final pairing for SWAC Player of the Year this year, things have either gone in the injury direction or otherwise horribly wrong for BCU. She is must-see TV. She will be all year long.
Foul on the freshman Ashol Akkad, making her first collegiate start for the Knights today. The native of Ottawa, Canada, former Canadian Youth International. First free throw is up and good. The first points for the Wildcats this season come from the free throw line. And Chanel Wilson, the first of, I'm sure, many points for Wilson this year, had 480 total last year. Good for 16 per game. Wilson sinks the second one. We are tied up at 2, 8:43 to go first quarter here from Addison Financial Arena. UCF on the ball. Jewett dribbles up, guarded in the backcourt by Kayla White. Hands off to Mia Ware, top of the arc, now moves right. White still on her after the switch. Back to Jewett, top of the arc, Left-hand drive blocked off by the Wildcats. Back top of the circle, here's Burns. Burns drives, skips through, whistle and a foul. Nope, Nope, it is whistle and a foul on Chanel Wilson. That's going to be the most important thing is Wilson's going to be the linchpin of this team. You cannot get her in foul trouble.
Yeah, she's an absolute X factor. This team goes as Chanel Wilson goes. They did last year. Of course, the supporting talent around her isn't bad by any means, but she is the heart and soul of this team and obviously the bucket getter whenever they need one.
Maya Burns shooting her free throws. Taps the first one in, 3-2 the score. Burns, the graduate student from Augusta, Georgia, comes to UCF after 3 seasons at Georgia Southern. Actually, was at UCF last year. Sinks both of her free throws, and it's 4-2 Knights, 8:24 to play in the first quarter. Kayla White across the time stripe, backs her defender all the way into the paint, but then stops, loses her pivot foot, has to get it down low. Here is McDonald working on the larger defender, but still scores over the 6'1" Acott.
That's some really nice footwork there from Chanel McDonald. Grab the ball, staying composed, going the other way for 2.
For all 8 minutes, first quarter, Knights on the ball. Tamia Ware drives right-hand side, now kicks it back, and it's stolen in the backcourt. Coast to coast for the lay-in goes Cariana Woods.
Cariana Woods is another one that's been a part of this ferocious Wildcats defense. You know, at the loss of Morgan Beecham, who has always had her hand on the ball, blocks as a shorter guard, there's going to be a lot of space to pick up there. It's good to see the Wildcats getting hands in early.
Baseline cut, driving through, over 2 defenders. A shot is missed by Acott. Wildcats pick up the rebound. It does eventually roll out to Chanel Wilson. She'll get across the time stripe. A Knight defender falls. Wilson takes a 3, and it's too strong. Long rebound got by Jewett. Knights have numbers if they want to press. Jewett up the floor. Tries to kick it out right-hand side to Burns. She has it in the corner. Left-hand drive into the paint. Kicks out for a wing 3. It's off the mark. Rebounded by Bethune-Cookman. Long pass out to find Chanel Wilson. Crosses the time stripe. 7-11 to go first quarter, and a 6-4 BCU lead here early on. Cariana Woods, right-hand dribble against Acott. Backs it out to Chanel McDonald at the top. Here is Wilson left wing. Gets a screen from McDonald. Doesn't take the 3. Hands off Woods right side. 10 to shoot. Top of the circle. Here's Kayla White. Takes a 3. Rattles out. We see the Wildcats going to that 3-ball early, Bryce.
Yeah, Mike, it's a critical part of the rotation across the board. Even Chanel McDonald, they want to make sure everyone out there is capable of spacing the floor and taking that 3.
Behind the back, Jewett goes into the post. Fadeaway jumper, no good. Good box out by the Wildcats to get the board. Still up 6-4 here early on. White tries to split, Woods tries to split 2 defenders, coughs up the ball. Knights in transition. Peterson on the right wing after a cross-court feed from Ware. Now she drives baseline, and an offensive foul.
It's another really strong defensive play from Chanel McDonald early in this game. We saw the block on that very first possession there. She stands strong, stays upright, and takes a pretty easy, clear-cut charge.
You talked about getting hands on the ball. Deshaunte Edwards just checked in, led the SWAC in steals last year, 93. That's better than 2 per game.
It's a critical part of the way that Coach Creighton coaches his squad. It's very defense first, and they want to make sure they have the weapons on offense to keep up.
UCF scoring drought at 2 minutes and 1 second. Still a 6-4 BCU lead. 6:23 to go first quarter here from Addington Financial Arena. Thank you for joining us for the tip-off of basketball coverage here on the CatEye Network for the 2023-24 season. Left-hand dribble drive, kick to the corner. Here is White. White drives, floater from 10 feet away. Got it. 8-4 Bethune-Cookman.
Kayla White created a lot of space for herself right there. Really easy jumper.
Wildcats show token press. It's just Kayla White pressuring Ware in the backcourt. Now she gets it across the time stripe in front of the bench. Now gets it back to the top to the player that's just checked in. That's Sierra Godbolt. She almost coughs the ball up, but it stays in the front court. The Knights get it back, and it's an easy feed under the basket for Taylor Gibson.
It's maybe a little over-aggressive from the Wildcats defense there. Both Edwards and White got hands on the ball at different possessions there.
White drives, coughs it up to Jayla Kelly, the 6'3 senior out of Chesterfield, Missouri, running the floor coast to coast. The layup won't go for Burns, and the Wildcats will stay up 8-6, 5:25 to go first quarter, but the Wildcats can't get out on defense, and it's going to be an and-one opportunity.
I think
as diving to the basket is Jayla Jewett.
Just some, you know, first game jitters, early season jitters. This team is almost trying to move a little too fast right now. They're almost passing without looking and not keeping in mind where everybody is. The communication isn't up to where it should be at the moment. You kind of slow things down, make UCF play your game. You don't necessarily have to get out and run it and gun it like you might against a SWAC team. They're going to need to slow things down a little bit and get it under control.
This is Jalea Jewett at the line, the junior from Woodbridge, Virginia, near my old stomping grounds. Four-star recruit, former out of Bishop Ireton High School. Misses the and one opportunity, so it's still 8-8. Wildcats in the front court after getting the rebound. Here's a quick pop from three from Kayla White, misses everything, and it goes into the UCF cheerleaders.
And again, Mike, this early in the season, game one, you need to have a chance to kind of run your offense, run some plays. You don't need to necessarily get out there and transition all the time and start firing them up. Wildcats need to get set and go.
8 all, 5 minutes left, first quarter. Knights on the ball, dump it in low to the 6'3", Jayla Kelly. She just gets position on McDonald's and scores over the top of her. 10-8 Knights. And that size without Kayla Clark in the middle is going to be very hard to defend. Here's Chanel Wilson. Dribbling back and forth against her defender, drives into a double team, coughs the ball up, dribbles it off her foot, and then steps out of bounds. Knights ball.
It's just been a really physical game to start this one, both sides. The Wildcats kind of running into UCF defenders, vice versa. A lot of hands getting on balls. It's a little chippy. It's not necessarily in a bad way, but that's very physical basketball being played right now.
That's Chanel Wilson's second foul. They called a reach-in on her after she coughed the ball up. So as we go to the media timeout, I think we'll see Wilson come out of the game with 2 fouls, only 2 points for her. And we'll take a timeout and be right back. 8-10, BCU behind UCF with 4:44 to go first quarter right here on the CatEye Network. Bethune-Cookman football continues Southwestern Athletic Conference play next Saturday, November the 11th, with a matchup with the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. The Pregame we broadcast on HBCU Go. Can't watch. You can listen to the action live at youtube.com/CatEye Network or locally in Daytona Beach at 1380 WELE. Michael Drillo, Bryce Wojnowski with you from Addison Financial Arena in Orlando. The Wildcats season opener for women's basketball. They trail the UCF Knights 10-8 with 4:44 to go in the first quarter. Bryce, good start for the Wildcats, but it seems the game has gotten a little bit hectic very early here.
Yeah, it's played so fast-paced on both sides of the ball. Everybody's quick to want to get a hand in there, get a hand on the ball, get out and run in transition, be the first one to fire it up on the offensive end. The tempo needs to come way down if the Wildcats are going to stay close. You want to make sure that UCF doesn't get the opportunity to flip that to run and gun and to start to run up the score. You need to slow the game down.
Yeah, and I think the Wildcats maybe caught the Knights off guard in the first couple of minutes by playing that kind of wide, open, active style, but the Knights have adjusted, and now you got to kind of get into a half-court offense and pick your shots.
Yeah, when you don't have a scorer like Chanel Wilson out there to kind of be that steady hand, it's going to be up to running that offense, making sure everyone's where they need to be for success.
Wilson already with 2 fouls. Wildcats down 10-8. It is Knights ball. Here is Ware, right wing corner, into the post. Kelly backs down her defender, tries to finish over the top, no good. The rebound comes down to Chanel McDonald. McDonald to Woods. Woods across the time stripe into the corner. It's a baseline jumper that is just too strong for McDonald. Knights out in transition. Jewett already in the paint, guarded by 3 Wildcats, dishes it out to Ware. In the corner, here's a 3 for the Knights. It's good with a splash from Jalea Jewett.
Three-point defense is critical for the Wildcats last year. Big-time emphasis on that end of the ball.
Correction, that's Jayla Jewett, not Jalea Jewett. My apologies. Woods spins into the paint, now looks for an outlet pass. Back to the top of the key. Here is White. White trying to size up her opponent, kick back out. Three ball on the way, and good! Mariah Tucker.
Yeah, not a whole lot of movement offensively for the Wildcats there. Mariah Tucker just kept her feet set, waited for the ball. Kayla Clark kind of pushed the defense in, kicked it out, and for the free ball.
Tucker is one of those players we'd like to see more of this year. Only played 5 games last year, battled the injury, and now fast hands from the Wildcats take a steal, and Woods is all alone on the outlet pass. Lets the defender go by her and scores to tie the game at 13. Nice job on the defensive end by Daimani Dorsey to force the turnover.
Yeah, and then, of course, the bucket at the under end. Great composure. Like you said, let the defender get by you, get the wide open layup.
13 all. Nia Jordan comes in for Mariah Tucker. And I think we are going to see Tucker just kind of get limited minutes here and there, building up the conference play. It was a knee injury for her last year, trying to get strength back into that. But we saw right there, she can be a deadly weapon for the Wildcats offensively. 13 all, 3:14 to go first quarter. Knights on the ball. Left wing side, here's Peterson checking back in after a time on the bench. She is guarded by Nia Jordan. Still with the ball now, right-hand drive to the free throw line, kicked out for a right wing three. No good, long rebound to the left baseline, taken by the Knights. Flipped behind the back into the paint, a spin move and a finish from Jayla Kelly.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do there against that spin move.
Kelly, the senior center from Chesterfield, Missouri, transfer from Missouri, averaged 2.5 points, 7-8 minutes per game, 3 seasons for the Missouri Tigers. Here's Cariana Woods in the front court for Bethune-Cookman, right wing side to Jordan. Back to Chanel McDonald, tries to float it underneath, and it's just batted away by Burns. Here comes UCF in transition. Peterson dribbles to the right wing, hands to Jewett. Jewett top of the key, and the ball is pushed across to Ware. Ware takes a long three, and it's good. That was about 5 feet beyond the line, and the UCF has opened up an 18-13 lead with 2:20 to go first quarter.
Yeah, and of course, Kerrigan Dunn was somewhat close. That's one of those shots you just kind of have to be willing to give up.
Kick to the corner, White. Mid-range left-hand side, now kicks it back out to Woods. Woods drives against her opposite number, floats it up, gets it rejected by Kelly. One-on-one the other way, Ware goes to the paint and gets fouled by Jordan.
Another instance there, Wildcats getting maybe a little too in there on the defensive end, really trying to be physical, stay in on the hands of UCF. It's going to get them in foul trouble early. Kind of have to keep your composure and stay away from the penalties.
Check that. That was Kerrigan Dunn, the junior from Texarkana, Texas, who picked up the foul there for Bethune-Cookman. 14 fouls already for BCU. One more, and UCF's in the bonus with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Checking in for Bethune-Cookman, number 23, Daimani Dorsey.
Daimani Dorsey comes in now, the sophomore from Baltimore. Last year, just 1.3 points a game for Dorsey, but figures to have a bit more impact this year.
She's certainly a leader off the court. She's always kind of involved, very bubbly presence in that Wildcat locker room in practice.
The Wildcats don't have a lot of height on this team. Only 2 players above 6 feet. Nia Jordan is one, and then Kayla Clark, who unfortunately is not playing, is the other. 20-13 as both free throws went down for UCF. 1:58 to go first quarter. Woods across the time stripe, switches to her left hand, guarded by Peterson, spins into the lane, looks for the backdoor cut, it's not there. Now tries to dump it inside, almost tipped away, comes back to Dunn, free throw line jumper, Nia Jordan rattles out.
Wildcats really putting an emphasis on getting that ball inside, but the height just really isn't there.
Jewett just walks up into a free throw line jumper, nobody caught the ball in transition, and just like that, it's a 9-point UCF lead, 22-13.
See the Wildcats here slowing the ball down a little bit, especially on that offensive end.
They're trying to work into the post, but there's just so much size on the UCF. Here's a pass inside, almost tipped away by the Knights. Wildcats still maintain possession. Out up top for Kayla White. 12 to shoot, drives, step back, free throw line jumper short. Rebound, fought for by Jordan, but she loses out to Burns. Knights on the ball with a 11-point lead, wing 3 in transition. Front iron no good. Wildcats will keep it in bounds off the rebound. Kerrigan Dunn with the board. Correction, that was Dorsey with the board. 1 minute left in the first. 22-13 UCF over BCU. Drive and throwing it up and no good. That was Kayla White. Offensive board for the Wildcats, but they turn it over immediately to Jayla Kelly down low. 10 seconds different shot clock and game clock here in the first quarter. No pressure as walking it across the time stripe is the junior Tamia Ware. Ware double teamed, wide open up top is Burns. She tries a three, rattles out. Good box out by Bethune-Cookman to grab the board. 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Wildcats will likely hold for the final shot here. Woods across the time stripe, hands to White. White on the UCF logo, 10 to shoot. White looking for a screen. It's denied. Mid-range jumper, too strong, and the ball goes out of play. It will be Knights ball with 2.7 to go in the first quarter. Taylor Gibson checks in for the Knights. You can see how different this makeup of this team is with Wilson not on the floor.
There's just not that always ever-present person on the floor who you can always go to when a play breaks down and kind of create her own shot. The rest of these Wildcats are kind of relying on offense to get them open.
1 second left. Long three by the center won't go, and that's the end of the first quarter. It was a good start for the Wildcats, but the Knights closed on a 9-0 run over the last 2:48 to take a 22-13 lead into the end of the first quarter. We'll be back after this. This is BCU Basketball on the CatEye Network. Welcome back to Edition Financial Arena here in Orlando on the campus of UCF. It's the Knights of UCF 22, the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats 13. We go to the start of the second quarter here in the first women's basketball contest of 2023. Thank you for tuning in live on the CatEye Network. Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Chanel Wilson comes back in to begin the second quarter, and with her on the floor, the Knights went on a 9-0 run. The Wildcats kind of looked lost offensively.
Yeah, and I think, Mike, just a quick look at the box score. You see Kayla White leads all players on the floor with 7 attempted field goals to start this game. I think it's just a little bit of desperation, trying to create something out of nothing. Needs to run the offense a little bit
Knights on
more.
the ball here. Drive to the basket from the left wing side. Offensive putback and one. That's Ashol Akot, the Canada native. Played for Team Canada, the 2023 FIBA U19 World Cup, won a bronze medal with the Canucks. Akot will go to the line for an and one. And Tucker will pick up her first foul after subbing back into the game. We talked about Omariah Tucker. She has the only 3 for the Wildcats in this ball game. Could be a big piece going forward on this team. And early in the season, even though you've got the majority of your team coming back as the Knights go full court press here, trying to get the Wildcats to mess up, they do get the ball into Wilson. Wilson runs the floor, crosses the time stripe, looks to the right-hand corner. Here's Dorsey, and then Chanel gets it back. There's Ashante Edwards on the floor now for Bethune-Cookman. She's in the right-hand corner. Feeds it back up to the top, Kayla White. White floats it into the lane for Tucker. Whistle and a foul going to go against UCF.
Yeah, the Wildcats continuing to try to emphasize the inside part of that offensive game, but it's just so tough when they don't have that size advantage. It's up to these, especially a player like Mariah Tucker, who's shown already in this game she can shoot the three. There needs to be spacing of the floor, creating that opportunity for drives rather than just trying to shoot those long desperation threes.
It'll be a baseline in for Bethune-Cookman after the foul on Ekot. That's her second personal. Wildcats will probably look to get her out of the game. In, baseline jumper quickly from Chanel Wilson, rises and hits, and the Wildcats are on the board for the first time in 10 minutes.
Anytime inside that three-point arc, Chanel Wilson is so deadly from anywhere on the floor.
25-15, Wildcats down by 10. Knights go to the low post, underneath the basket, double team, spinning, putting up a hook shot and a foul. That was Taylor Gibson, the junior from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Wildcats looked like they were going to get away with that, but it just got a late tap on the arm.
They certainly haven't done anything to afford any kind of lenience early in this game.
And then Tucker's going to come out after collecting her second foul.
Second team foul, checking in for Bethune-Cookman, number 12, Chanel McDonald.
Chanel McDonald comes back in. And McDonald is interesting. A Lake Wales prospect, also played volleyball in high school, but then comes to Bethune-Cookman from Warner University in Florida. Two-time first-team All-Sun Conference and was the 2022 Conference Player of the Year. So a dominant player down at the NAIA level. Now jumping a big step up here to Division I. Free throw down for Taylor Gibson. She'll get another one. 26-15 Knights over Wildcats. Already 2 fouls in less than a minute for Bethune-Cookman here in this second quarter. Rattles down. The second one does Gibson. Wildcats will inbound the ball. Knights will go full court press again. This time they get it into Wilson. Splits a double team, runs the floor into the front court. Going to go all the way. Fakes the kick to the corner. Lost it briefly, gets it back. Has to float it back up to the top. It bounced around. Here's White. Left-hand drive. Goes switch to the right hand. Tries to finish over the top of Ako, and that's it. No good. Long stretch pass. Finds the running Jewett. She is pressured from the backside by Kerrigan Dunn, and her layup is no good. So after a wild couple of seconds, still 25-15, 8:45 to go here in the second quarter. Chanel Wilson with the right-hand dribble moves to her left, right wing. Step back, 3-ball from Wilson. Oh, off the mark and hitting nothing.
Still sputtering a little bit offensively are the Wildcats, but especially on that defensive end side of the ball, you're really starting to see glimpses of what's going to make this team so dangerous when we get to conference play. Just hands on a little bit of everything.
Walking up the floor, here's Ware, the transfer from LSU. Baseline drive from Peterson. Kick out, 3-ball left wing side. No good, front iron from Burns. Wildcats take the rebound after a good box out. Cross-court pass, Wilson. Right wing side guarded by Jewett. Back up top to to Edwards, and then back to Wilson. Not a lot of movement off the ball right now, just kind of letting Chanel Wilson do her thing. 14 to shoot. Now she's got to get the ball away. She stops, tries to throw it in the paint, and it's picked off by Gibson. Gibson runs the floor coast to coast against Wilson, who doesn't want to foul. Offensive rebound after the missed layup by Burns. She crosses back inside and gets fouled.
You know, Mike, to get back to that kind of offensive conversation, you said it right there. Especially when Chanel's been out, there's really been no movement off the ball from anybody. There's been 2 offensive game plans. It's either been give Chanel the ball and hope she makes something out of it, or try to pump it inside. And with the size disadvantage, that's been really tough for the Wildcats early. It's going to be up to somebody to move without the ball, create passing lanes, and try to make something happen that's not just Chanel Wilson.
Maya Burns at the line. 2 points all from the line. This is her second trip. She's 2 of 2. Now 3 of 3 as the first one rattles down. 27 to 16. 7:50 to go first half. And the Wildcats only 1 bucket this quarter. Second free throw no good. Rebound by the maroon and gold. Kerrigan Dunn fresh off the bench. Has the ball in her hands. Drives right against Ware. Hands it on a roll to Edwards. Edwards pressured against the UCF bench, gets it back to Dunn at the top of the key. 15 to shoot for the Wildcats. Dunn between her legs, guarded by Jewett way up on top. Gets the screen from McDonald. Fadeaway jumper, left-hand wing, no good. Rebounded by the Knights. Long stretch pass ahead, almost picked off by Wilson, but it does find the hands of Peterson. Peterson to Burns, and then a trip on the top as Burns tried at her drive by Deshante Edwards, and that's already the 4th foul on Bethune-Cookman. One away from the bonus with 7:15 to go in the quarter.
And make that 3 for Deshante Edwards, and she was another one who was just so strong on the ball for the Wildcats last year. They're losing a lot of those pivotal pieces that kind of make this team run. Got to be careful.
Again, only 2 points in the second quarter for Bethune-Cookman, 6 for UCF. It was 22-13 after the first quarter. In the right wing corner, here's Ware, back out on top, offensive foul, moving screen. And that'll give the ball back to VCU. That'll be Burns' first foul, and the second team foul of the quarter for UCF.
Last time down on the offensive end, we saw the makings of a play being run. There was some pick action. We saw Dorsey kind of run opposite of a pick at the top of the key. Didn't result in a made shot, but more of that.
Cariana Woods checks in, is on the ball right now, right wing side. Hands back to Dunn, top of the circle. Well, Wilson left wing. She gets a screen from McDonald, drives into the paint. Floater, back iron, no good. Rebound comes out to Peterson, and she takes it for the Knights. Nia Jordan almost grabbed that board. 6:39 to go first half. 28-15 Knights over Wildcats. Right wing, here's Jewett. Back to the top of the key for Ware. Ware guarded by Cariana Woods, the sophomore from Ann Arbor, Michigan. She does a nice step-over move to get by Woods, shovels it underneath to Kelly, and then coughs the ball up before she could get a shot away.
4 Wildcats in the paint defensively on that play.
Transition 3, left wing. It is Shorts, but it comes right back to Kerrigan Dunn, and she lays it in. Nobody paying attention on the defensive side for UCF.
And one thing you certainly can't count on early in this game for the Wildcats, they have just been fighting for every loose ball, every rebound, all these steals. There's another one right there.
Yeah, tapped into the scorers table. Knights will maintain position. But that's what you want to see in these early season games against these high major schools. UCF joining the Big 12 this year. We can now say they're a high major school. You want to see individual players making good plays. You want to start to see the beginnings of that team chemistry. So when we do get to conference play, it all comes together. Right wing side here is Jewett for the Knights. Back up top. Asia Todd, freshly into the game for UCF for her first action of the year, gets a screen, but then has Dunn right in her face. Ball on the floor, double teamed. It is going to be a tie-up. And possession Bethune-Cookman. So great job by Nia Jordan and Kerrigan Dunn to wrap up there.
And again, just glimpses of that ferocious defense that the Wildcats showed us a lot last year. There's going to be a lot of SWAC games the Wildcats win just because of how on the ball they are at all times.
That's how they won a lot of their games last year. Low-scoring, scrappy defensive contests. Pick and roll for Kerrigan Dunn. She spins, dumps it off inside, looking for McDonald, but threw it behind her and out of play. And that was a good setup there. She drew the center to her, and McDonald, was wide open underneath, just missed the pass.
Like we said, floor spacing is so critical right now between Nia Jordan and Chanel McDonald. Not some who've taken a lot of threes over their career, but they need to be able to create that space in the paint for those open layups.
5:20 second quarter, 28-17 Knights over Wildcats. Right-hand side, here's Jewett for UCF. She drives against Kerrigan Dunn. Left-hand floater, no good. Nice rebound by Chanel McDonald. Whistle and a foul. I'm not sure who that's going to go into because it was wrestling back and forth between both of these teams. It's going to be a UCF foul, so Bethune-Cookman got that rebound. Great job by McDonald.
Yeah, the Wildcats have done an excellent job of collapsing in whenever the Knights are able to penetrate the paint and get in for the layup. There's been a lot of great help defense. Sometimes it's resulted in fouls, but right there you see it results in a turnover.
And the Wildcats are doing a good job boxing out against larger bodies as well. As I mentioned, only 2 players on this team over 6 foot tall, and one of them is not even in the game tonight, Kayla Clark. Unknown why she is not on the floor. Here's Cariana Woods, right wing corner, back to the top, long stretch pass, Dunn, left-hand side. Dunn looking for a screen, won't get it, now hands the ball back, gets it back, Dunn, free throw line jumper, yes! And the Wildcats are up to 19 points.
Almost looked like a broken play right there. Nia Jordan kind of tip passed the back right to the point guard. Was able to get open for the three-pointer.
28-19, Wildcats down by single digits again. Burns, top of the key, right-hand side, Peterson. Peterson, the lane at the baseline is open. She takes it, and it's blocked. And it's going to be BCU ball as Peterson got it right back, but stepped on the baseline.
Another great job, help defense there from Nia Jordan. We saw Daimani Dorsey, her offensive player, kind of came off of her defender, but coming in the paint, and Nia Jordan's got something to say about it.
Knights on a 3:26 scoring drought. Wildcats down by just 9, 29-18. We've hit the second quarter media timeout. We'll be right back. This is Bethune-Cookman Women's Basketball on the CatEye Network. We are back at Addington Financial Arena here in Orlando. Wildcats trail the UCF Knights 28-19, 4:24 to go first half. Wildcat ball, they'll go right to left in the all-white trimmed in maroon and gold. Knights in the home black trimmed in white. No gold for the Knights this evening. Cariana Woods flashes past her defender and then gets clattered by Jayla Kelly, and she'll go to the line. This will be the first trip to the free throw line in the second quarter for Bethune-Cookman, and second overall.
Yeah, and we know the Wildcats have been hurt kind of on the opposite end of that. UCF, a lot of drives, a lot of contact, been forcing their way to the free throw line. Wildcats need to do more of that. That's a great start, but since the balls inside haven't been working, the three-pointer hasn't been falling, this is how you get points early in this game.
Cariana Woods at the free throw line. Hits her first one. Woods last year, 61% of her free throws. But as you mentioned, the Knights have gotten to the line. They're 8 out of 10 on the free throws here in this first half. Second free throw off the iron and no good, so only one. So it's an 8-point Knights lead, 28-24, 10 to go in the first half. Knights on the ball going left to right. Here is Ware at the UCF logo, right-hand side on the wing. Here's Peterson. Peterson down low to the center, and it's just too easy for Jayla Kelly to bully her way to the basket. Kelly up to 6 points on 3 of 5 shooting. Chanel Wilson back on the floor for Bethune-Cookman. She'll run the point. And an offensive foul. They're going to get a Oh, it's way off the ball. Camera Langston called for it. I thought it might have been on Nia Jordan as she tried to fight through the screen.
And the Wildcats are going to continue to struggle defensively with Nia Jordan as their biggest player out there.
She's right now trying to guard 6'3" Jayla Kelly. They go to her again. This time Kelly misses the layup short. And Jordan pulls down the board. Wilson in transition, looking for something. Finds the mismatch, gets a bump, and scores a trick shot. How in the world did Chanel Wilson get that to go?
Yeah, get used to calling them that way, Mike, because we're going to see plenty of those this year, I can think.
She just kind of chucked it up from the free throw line over the center and got it to go down. 30-22, 8-point lead for the Knights. Backdoor cutting pass finds Peterson. She has to back out as Jordan was on her immediately. 15 on the shot clock. She'll just put up a three and hit it over Jordan, who sagged off expecting the drive.
Again, the help defense inside has been good for the Wildcats, forcing that ball back on the outside, but you got to make sure you're contesting all those threes or they'll make you pay.
33-22, the Knights have the lead. Backdoor cutting pass, Wilson on the baseline. Kick out. Three on the way from Dunn, left-hand corner, too strong. Knights with the board. The shortest player on the floor, Caitlin Peterson, grabs the board for the Knights. In transition, Wildcats almost take it away. Dunn tips a pass straight to Ware, and the Knights get into their half-court set. Wide open left wing three, Peterson. Too strong. Fighting for the rebound is Dunn, and she will get it as the Knights step on the baseline. Maya Burns almost grabbed that board.
And you almost saw the help defense kind of bite the Wildcats right there for the open three for UCF. Didn't go in. They're so focused on maintaining that paint presence, which has worked in a lot of respects, but then it may end up costing you on the three-point line.
Yeah, well, and of course, when you get into SWAC play, where a lot of it's going to be center-based and forward-based and in the paint, that's going to be good, and I can tell why that Coach Creighton has taught her team to play that way defensively. But against a team with good three-point shooting, here's Nia Jordan, just tries a straight-on three, pops over the backboard and no good.
Yeah, she's going to have to earn respect on those shots. They'll give them to her, at least for right now, but she's a player that if she could ever develop a consistent three-point shot, you almost look back at those old championship Warriors teams and that small ball, the way that everybody's capable of shooting the three and playing off the ball. That's, with an undersized team like this, what you may see from the Wildcats in conference play.
Knights back in the front court, left wing three, catch and shoot for Peterson, too strong. Just there for the rebound is Kelly, and she puts it in as he boxes out Dunn. 35-22, under 2 minutes to go, first half. Knights on the top. Off a pick and roll, here is Kayla White. White moves her pivot foot, now gets it underneath the basket, throwing it up, and in is Nia Jordan. Nice job by Jordan over Ware with the right-hand finish. 11-point lead for the Knights, 1:38 to go first half. That left wing three is always open. It's taken again this time by Ware. Splash.
And the Knights are doing a good job of keeping that ball over on the right side of the court, forcing the Wildcats to kind of crash the paint and just be wary of the size inside. Quickly kick it around, open three just about every time.
The Knights rather up to 4 threes. Wilson drives, kick out, wide open three from the corner. Good from Kayla White as she answers.
A good shot for Kayla White. She needed that one after a string of bad misses.
Long stretch pass, right-hand wing. Here's Peterson. Peterson floats it up for Kelly underneath, and Kelly steps on the baseline. VCU ball with 1:02 to go. They can push this to an under 10-point gap, and we were predicting in the car on the way here, Bryce, that the gap would be under 15 at halftime, and it might very well be.
This pesky Wildcats defense is just going to keep them in the game. You're forcing some out-of-bounds balls, some mistakes here or there. They've kind of calmed down on the physicality.
1 minute left in the first half. Woods left wing, guarded, harassed by Ware. Gets it away, left-hand drive, White. Help defense is there for the Knights. Jordan at the free throw line. Now underneath, elbow jumper Jordan. Rims out. Long stretch pass ahead, tipped off of 3 hands and eventually finds Jewett in the front court for UCF. 33 seconds to go, 10-second difference shot clock to game clock here in the first half. Knights with an 11-point lead, 38-27, and the Knights will hold and let the clock run down. Ware now drives, gets past 1, stutter step pass 2 into the paint, and it's tipped on the way through. Nice job by Chanel McDonald to get a piece of that ball. 16 seconds left, Wildcats in the front court. White glides past 1 to the top of the arc, gets inside, underneath Jordan. Right underneath, and she bricked it off the back iron. 3 seconds left, ball rattles around. It's not going to get into the front court, and we will head to the second half. Wildcats pesky on defense, but the offense not really working. 35% from the floor for Bethune-Cookman here in half number 1. They trail the UCF Knights 38-27. Thoughts on the first half, Bryce?
Yeah, Mike, I think, we're not blessed with the advanced analytics that the NBA is capable of, but if we were to count what percentage of plays the Wildcats got a hand on defense, I feel like it's been 2/3. I mean, they have been all over the floor. It's kind of just been a matter of being outmatched, especially on that offensive end. The size inside is killer because it forces that extra attention in the paint, which then results in some open threes, which have kind of hurt the Wildcats early in this game. Offensively, we've seen them finally start to slow the game down as we've approached the half. It's resulted in some much better possessions, some much better run offense, and less of the Chanel Wilson show.
38-27 your score. Here's some first half stats. Chanel Wilson with 6 points for the Wildcats. Tariana Woods with 5, Kayla White with 5, McDonald with 2, Jordan with 2, Tucker with 3, Dunn with 4. For the Knights, Jewett with 7, Peterson with 5, Burns with 3, Ware and Kelly with 8 each. Acott with 3. She got into a little bit of foul trouble and had to come out. She was a menace in the first couple of minutes. Gibson with 4. Once again, your score at the half. The UCF Knights 38, the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats 27. We'll take about a 13-minute break and be back for half number 2. Here you're listening to Bethune-Cookman Wildcat Women's Basketball on the CatEye Network. The nation's largest HBCU football game is back on November 18th. Come catch your Wildcats as they take on the rival Florida A&M Rattlers in the 43rd annual Florida Blue Florida Classic at Camping World Stadium in Orlando. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Welcome back to Addison Financial Arena on the campus of the University of Central Florida, where it's the Knights 38, the Wildcats 27 as we gear up for the start of the second half. I'm Michael DeVillo. Just ID Bryce Wanowski joins me from the broadcast table up in the left-hand corner here at the arena. And Bryce, it's a busy week in BCU athletics. This is just the beginning of a long week. We got men's basketball up in Minneapolis playing Minnesota tonight. Thursday night, we got women's basketball right back at it here on the CatEye Network as they take on UF in Gainesville. Then Friday, we've got men's basketball and versus Trinity College. That's the first home basketball game of the year. Get out to Moore Gymnasium and support your Wildcats against they play Trinity College. And the volleyball team is at FAMU to close out the regular season, still looking to clinch their spot in this SWAC tournament. Of course, it all leads up to football on Saturday, 1 p.m. out at the stadium against Alabama A&M. Bryce, what stands out to you on this schedule this week?
Yeah, well, Mike, the SID in me would say to just complain about all the various events we've got to deal with this week. But if you're a Wildcat fan, there's plenty to get excited about. Obviously, a brand new basketball season and a big one for both head coaches getting underway this week. Obviously, like you said, come out to Moore Gymnasium this Friday and come see the first action of the season for men's basketball. Head coach Reggie Theus in their third season here in the SWAC. If you have a chance to get up to Gainesville to watch the ladies again go up and face the Gators, absolutely, by all means do it. If not, we'll be here right on the CatEye Network once again for you. Then volleyball obviously needs your support. That's going to be a big one. FAMU's a really tough team, but it's going to be a really big test for the Wildcats as they try to hunt that last couple playoff spots and get back in there and try to do some damage like they did last weekend. So volleyball for me is kind of going to be the most exciting part of the weekend. But then, of course, you've always got football. It's always going to take precedence.
And we saw, right, volleyball, all you need is a ticket and a space on the plane. They went to the volleyball tournament and did some damage last year.
Yeah, the SWAC's a very winnable league. Obviously, at the top, you've got some dangerous teams in Alabama State and then in Florida A&M, but anything can happen in one of those games. And the Wildcats are the type of team that has the talent that we've seen at parts this year to make something happen.
We are getting set to go here in the purple and gold, black and gold checkerboarded seats at Asian Financial Arena. The Wildcats in the all-white, gold stripe down the side, trimmed in maroon, gold numbers, maroon trim. Wildcats in the all-black, white numbers, white stripe down the side. The Knights in their first year in the Big 12 Conference, they joined Houston and Cincinnati. And UCF, now the youngest school in the Power 5, founded in 1963 as a training ground for NASA scientists. That's why they do the whole Citronauts Space U kind of alternate branding that you see around here every so often.
Seen a handful of Citronauts t-shirts around tonight. This is a great little place to play some basketball. I always enjoy our trips down here. It's just a really great venue, especially for the size here.
I used to come here and watch the Orlando Predators arena football team. That 1 year, or 2 years, they got kicked out of Amway Center. They played down here at UCF. Knights will get the ball to start the second half. They'll go right to left in the all-black. It is Tamia Ware on the ball. Crosses the time stripe, and we're underway. Free throw line, here's Maya Burns, guarded by Nia Jordan. Kayla White taps the ball away from Ware, but Ware gets it back and then loses it out of bounds, and it's Wildcat ball.
Picking up right where they left off are the Wildcats, getting a hand on the ball from the very jump of the possession. They are all on everything. Just have to be careful not for it to lead to those early fouls.
Wildcats are in some foul trouble. I'll get you that at the next stoppage. Here's Cariana Woods running the point for BCU. Wilson, wide open three straight on, no good. Rebound, Karams out to the left-hand corner, and it's taken by Ware for UCF. Shovels it ahead to Jayla Jewett. Jewett 7 points in the contest. She goes underneath to Maya Burns on the backdoor cut, and her layup is good. 40-27, 9:23 to go. All across the action is non-stop. Chanel McDonald grabs her second bucket as a Wildcat on the stretch pass. 40-29. I think the Wildcats can keep this to about a 15-point or under margin. I think Chanel Wilson will be very happy. Here's a step-back three. Left wing side, no good. Wildcats will take the rebound by Jordan. White pushes the pace, has a lane if she wants it. She's going to go all the way to the basket. Pull-up jump shot from 5 feet away is good. That's
back-to-back really nice transition possessions for the Wildcats. If that's what it takes to get back into this game and keep this really close, keep feeding it.
9-point game, 40-31, 8:45 to go third quarter. Knights of the ball attacking the basket to listeners left, top of the key. Here's Burns. Burns guarded by Nia Jordan. Jordan hands all over Burns as Burns backs her down, goes into the paint, and Jordan wins the contest. Gets her to Bank that off the underside of the rim. Cariana Woods into the front court for BCU. At the free throw line, stops, hands to Nia Jordan. Jordan tries to get her defender in the air. Pull-up jumper from 18 feet, got it!
Wildcats attacking early on in these possessions.
And that's a timeout for UCF as the Wildcats have started on a 6-0 run here in this third quarter. They've lowered the gap to 7, 40-33.
Yeah, and it's all been fed through transition. We saw early in this game, Wildcats were kind of getting themselves in a little bit of trouble trying to get out in transition too much to the point that they were poking the ball, getting those reach-in calls, a couple tough calls in the paint. But they've been off the ball, they've been patient, they've let the defensive possessions come to them. They've been able to get out, run, and gun, and gotten some really easy baskets.
Stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on Twitter and Instagram at BCU_athletics. For the latest on BCU women's basketball, follow at BCU WBB on Twitter and Instagram. You're only following those accounts in every BCU social account. The media team here does a great job keeping you up to date. Live scores, behind-the-scenes content, player interviews at times, all sorts of stuff being posted to our social channels. So follow at BCU Athletics on the team-specific channels as well. Wildcats with a 6-2 run to open up quarter number 3 have lowered the gap to 7. It's the Knights of UCF 40, the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats 33. We'll take a quick step back and be right back to Edition Financial Arena right here on the CatEye Network. Back at Edition Financial Arena here on the campus of UCF. Wildcats down 40-33 after a 6-2 run to open up the third quarter. And head coach for UCF, Satia Messer, in her second season, not happy with how the Knights played so far in this season. Messer, an assistant coach with a large pedigree, Arkansas State, Memphis, Georgia Tech, Baylor, and LSU, has made 5 Elite 8 appearances and has a national title with Baylor in 2019 as an assistant to Kim Mulkey, and she came here from LSU also under the Mulkey coaching tree, and that's a name that's kind of on the rise in women's basketball. Obviously, LSU, the reigning national champions. She's very flamboyant. She loves to show up other coaches, and but she gets results. Knights on the ball, up by 7, 8-10 to go third quarter. Will reverse up top. Ball hands to Burns on down low, and ripping the ball through for a point is Jayla Kelly. Kelly up to 10 points, first scorer in double digits for either team, and it's not hard to see why. They have been feeding her in the low post. Wildcats in the front court. Woods stops, turns, gets her defender in the air, and it's still blocked by Kelly. Wildcats get the offensive rebound, though. Nia Jordan with the rip move and finish.
Nice board there. Nice to stay with the ball. What this team lacks in that size in the middle, they make up for in that ferociousness of staying on the ball.
Here's Jewett, starting point guard, back on the floor after not starting the second half. Burns at the free throw line, left wing corner. Here's a three-pointer by Todd. It's good. And the Knights continue to be hot from three-point land. 5 of 13 from beyond the arc for the Knights tonight. 45-35, 10-point lead for UCF. Jordan screens for Wilson. She takes the left wing three, too short. And boxing out is Kelly for the rebound for UCF. Long stretch pass ahead for the Knights. Right corner, driving baseline, Jewett. No correction, that's Peterson. Peterson hands back to Jewett. Out up top, guarded by Kayla White. Burns at the free throw line. Nail drive. Dumps it underneath, and a traveling violation against Jayla Kelly. BCU ball.
You know, back to that back timeout, it was a great timeout call by Coach Messer with UCF. You know, it's kind of a flip the script from what we saw in the first half where UCF was the one who wanted to get out and run. Well, now UCF has really slowed this game down, especially on the defensive end for the Wildcats.
Offensive foul, moving screen. I think I could see that from all the way up here as Kayla White tried to give Chanel Wilson a lane to go down. Wildcats in some foul trouble. Tucker with 2, Wilson with 2, Edwards with 3. Nobody else with more than 1, but Deshaunte Edwards, that tenacious defender, stuck on the bench for the Wildcats with 3 fouls. Here's Asia Todd driving into the lane, kicking back, baseline run. Peterson pulls up and 1.
UCF getting just about everything they want on offense right now. The 3 is falling inside. They've had some great passing. Wildcats having a little huddle up in the middle of the paint to kind of talk about their defense going forward.
Yep. Knights have had 10 free throws in this contest. They're 8 of 10. Wildcats only 2 trips to the line, 3 of 4.
I like that little huddle up by the Wildcats. They're almost like a volleyball style between the play. Everybody comes through. We're done. We clap. We all disperse.
And 1 good for Peterson, the junior from Eufaula, Alabama, transfer from Indiana. First 2 college seasons there, only averaged 7.2 minutes and 2 points per game. But the 4-time Alabama All-State selection can definitely play, and she's showing that right now with 8 points. Peterson with 8, Kelly with 10. That's the top 2 scorers for UCF. They got a 48-35 lead, 13 points the gap. Floated into the paint, offensive foul again as Cariana Woods pushed off against Camera Langston pushed off against Kelly.
Just trying to create space in the paint. A little cluttered down there. It's made layups really tough to come by for BCU.
Langston looked at the referee like, what did I do? Knights in the front court. Wing 3 left-hand side, too strong. Fighting for the rebound, Todd comes to BCU. Kayla White runs the floor, 1-on-1 all the way, and she shortchanged the layup. Offensive rebound, though, for the Wildcats, and it's put home. Cariana Woods with the bucket. Long transition pass ahead, and beautiful footwork from Jayla Kelly to catch that, turn, and score. The center up to 14 points. Dunn, straight on 3, sinks it for BCU. Nia Jordan, the 6'1" forward with the 3 ball. This game is now wide open. Quick transition 3, no good. Offensive rebound for the Knights. Underneath, here's Acott back in the game. Left wing 3 is good by Asia Todd. It's a 3-point shooting contest that has broken out here at Addition Financial Arena. Timeout Bethune-Cookman as the UCF has pushed the lead. It was as little as 7 here in this 3rd quarter. It's back up to 13.
Yeah, just as soon as I talked about slowing the game down, it's moved right back out. A lot of quick shots early in the shot clock, especially for UCF. Going to that 3 ball. Wildcats trying to answer. They don't necessarily have the guns to always stay consistent.
But how about Nia Jordan just pulling up from straight on and rattling one down?
Yeah, that's the kind of shot, too, that could be so huge for her offensively. If that can become a consistent shot, whether she likes the corner shot, whether it's that straightaway 3 that's falling constantly, if she has that in her bag to be able to be that paint presence and immediately, whether it's picks and popping out to the beyond the 3-point line or finding her way to that corner to space the floor, it can be absolutely deadly come conference play.
And it stretches the floor, right? Because you don't just – because what the Knights are doing a lot of is just collapsing. They know the 3-point ball isn't really falling for BCU. So they're just collapsing, putting four girls in the paint, forcing the Wildcats to drive and just stripping them or blocking it on the drive. If the Wildcats can show that they can consistently get those out, and it doesn't even have to be 3-pointers. It could be 15-foot elbow jumpers. If the Wildcats can add that to their game, then you bring some of those players out of the paint, opens up the lanes for drives a little bit more.
Like we said, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it's kind of similar to that old Warriors death lineup where everybody can get their shot wherever it is. So there is no such thing as kind of collapsing like that because there's somebody always going to be open and they're going to absolutely crush you like that. But so like you said, if our version of that is a jump shooting team from inside the arc, then that's still a great way to get some great offensive possessions.
But for the Wildcats, there's not really anybody outside of Chanel Wilson that has shown they can just generate their own spot shot anywhere on the floor. Got a wave from Chris Boyle of that Daytona Beach News Journal poking around here in the media area. Good to see him down there in the blue shirt. Wildcats trail the UCF Knights 53-40 with 5:13 to go here in the third quarter. Men's basketball head coach Reggie Theus and women's basketball head coach Janelle Creighton are ready to tip off the 2023-24 Wildcats basketball season. It's right around the corner, and season tickets are on sale at the BCU box office for just $225 on the lower level and $125 in the upper level. Wildcat basketball wants to see you this season at Moore Gymnasium. Come on out to Moore. Make it the most hardest place to play in the SWAC. We know the student section is always there. The band is there bringing the noise. And it's always a great time when we get a home game at Moore Gymnasium.
It's a great atmosphere to be a part of. There's coaches, players across the league consistently point to it as the toughest place to play in the league. It really, you can't do it justice explaining what that atmosphere is like. And make sure you're a part of it, coming out and support not just the men's team. Make sure you show the women some love. Make sure we pump up that atmosphere and we kind of maintain that presence as that most dangerous place to play in the league. And maybe, to some extent, a lot of college basketball.
Just about gets set to go after the timeout. Once again, 5:13 to go, third quarter. 53-40, UCF leads BCU. Wildcats have just kind of hung in there, hung around. Started this third quarter fast, but UCF has kind of restored the status quo with a couple of big three-point shots in the last 2 minutes.
Be interesting to see what the Wildcats' offensive approach looks like. Do you continue to try to go to that three ball to try to get back in and stay in this game?
The Chanels, Wilson, and McDonald back in the game for BCU. It'll be Kerrigan Dunn, right wing. She'll handle the rock. Steps inside, long two. Front iron, no good. And the Knights out in transition with Peterson. Steps inside, shovels it underneath to Acott. Acott with 3 white jerseys around her. Gets her shot blocked by Jordan. Jordan bounced it to Wilson, and the Wildcats crossed the time stripe. 4:42 to go, third quarter. Wilson dancing against Peterson. Out to Dunn. Cariana Woods now dancing through the free throw line. Dunn as the weave action goes. Left-hand wing jumper, no good for Kerrigan Dunn. That one rattles out. Knights back on the ball. Jayla Jewett, the junior from Woodbridge, controls. Goes to her left, now back to her right, battling against Deshante Edwards. Asia Todd back up on top, gets a screen, left-hand drive into the paint. Short changes the layup. Ball caroms around in there, and eventually Chanel McDonald grabs it. She's still being held underneath. Nobody came back to offer a passing lane, and the Knights tie up, and it's possession arrow to BCU.
You could hear her yelling from up here for somebody to come and save her from the double team there, but nobody ends up showing up, and it ends up in that jump ball.
Now, Wildcats will get the inbound under the basket to listeners left. They attack the opposite basket. And now UCF goes back to a little bit of full court press that they showed at times in the first half. The Wildcats never really got trapped by it, always broke contain. This time a long stretch pass ahead. Chanel Wilson taps it ahead of her. Asia Todd diving on the floor, gets it for UCF, and the Knights rip it away. That's the first time we've really seen that. Oh, and then the Knights almost throw it away. Diving out of bounds to save it is Burns in the backcourt for UCF. They got to get it across the time stripe. They do with 1 second left on the shot clock. It's before the 10-second violation. Todd left wing after a wild couple of seconds of basketball. Todd, left-hand layup, rolls it in off the front rim. And that big body of Asia Todd, 5'9", rumbling down the lane. Wildcats have not had an answer for it here in this third quarter. Wilson gets a couple of claps from Peterson on the defensive end, blows by Peterson to the basket and gets her legs taken out from under her by Todd. And Wilson is on the ground. Todd is also on the ground. That'll be a foul.
I'm not even sure what exactly happened. That looked like a hockey-style hip check. Like you said, landed both players on the floor. I'm not sure if she got pushed. Kind of looked unexpected from Todd to end up on the ground like that.
Chanel Wilson pops up, trying to walk it off. Todd will go to the bench. I'm not sure that was intentional. It looks like the legs just got tangled up as Wilson drove the lane, and Todd tried to shade over and for help side defense.
Yeah, Chanel Wilson, somebody tough in these non-conference games. You kind of hold your breath when stuff like that happens.
And already, we learned during halftime that Kayla Clark will be out for 2 to 4 weeks with an undisclosed injury. Wilson at the free throw line was 2 of 2, her first trip to the charity stripe all the way back in the first quarter. The Wildcats just 3 of 4 from the line on 2 trips tonight. Student section to our left try to get loud and put off Wilson, and she rattles the first one, no good. And the ground is not soft. They call it the hardwood for a reason, so maybe Chanel just kind of got the wind knocked out of her a little bit by that hard fall. Second, he missed them both. Missed the second one left. Still 55-40, 15-point lead for the Knights. That's their largest lead of the contest, as they've scored 17 points in this third quarter, and there's still 3:21 to go in it. Left wing, Jewett gets a screen, drives with the right hand, stopped at the free throw line, rifles a pass into the left-hand corner. Nice leaping grab by Ware to keep it alive. Peterson drives baseline, kisses it off the glass and in. Got help side defense from Dunn, but it didn't matter.
Yeah, just kind of going over those smaller guards for BCU for the basket.
Wilson kicks it baseline, and a whistle and a foul as DeShante Edwards was streaking to the basket.
UCF foul 0,
Layla Jewett will get her second foul. Jewett is one of the top lead returning scorers for this Knights team, averaged 8.4 points a game last year, just ahead of Anjanae Hutton, who we haven't seen at all tonight, averaging 7.6. Edwards, 3 straight misses from the charity stripe for BCU. Edwards last year just 55.8% from the free throw line, and this was something we kind of maligned, Eric Dennis and I, during the home broadcast last year, that with how tenacious DeShante Edwards is, she got to the line over 100 times last year and still only shot 55%. Second one went down. Wildcats show a little bit of full court pressure. The Knights break it across the time stripe. Here's Peterson driving against Edwards, forced back to the corner on the right-hand side. Here's the screen. Peterson goes around it. Free throw line, drives into a crowd of Wildcats. Kick out for an open 3 left-hand side. Rattles out, no good. Wildcats take the rebound from Kariana Woods. Woods shovels it ahead to Edwards on the baseline left. Now into the middle of the floor. Here's Jordan. Jordan to Kerrigan Dunn. Dunn fires away and hits a 3.
Maybe the cleanest three-point ball we've seen from the Wildcats today. Haven't been able to be consistent with that, but
big swish there. Wildcats now 5 for 15 from beyond the arc. Knights 9 of 11. Peterson steps inside, 18-footer from just beyond the free throw line is good. 59-44, 1:55 to go third quarter in this quarter that has been mostly controlled by UCF. Actually, it's only a 2-point lead for UCF. You just take this quarter alone, 19-17, but they had that lead going into the half. Edwards flashes through, gets the foul, and will go to the line.
And this is kind of how what we didn't see from BCU in the first half, about how you're kind of generating offense when a lot of it's been stagnant. Just go inside and try to create that contact and draw those fouls. But it kind of, like you said, Mike, have to be able to capitalize on these free throws coming up.
And really, after the first quarter, the Wildcats have been in it. First quarter was 22-13 UCF. Second quarter was 16-14 Knights. Third quarter now just 21-17 Knights. So it's been a close battle every quarter, but those leads stack up on top of each other to create this 59-44 lead we have right now.
Yeah, and I remember looking all the way back to the SWAC tournament last year. The Wildcats kind of had a similar situation. They had one rough quarter, I think it was the second quarter, where they kind of let it get away, stayed close for the rest of it, but you just have that one lapse and you can let it get away from you.
DeShante Edwards misses the first free throw again. Wildcats now 4 of 8 from the line. Edwards with that herky-jerk free throw motion sinks the second one. 59-45, the Knights lead, 1:41 and counting to go here third quarter. Peterson, right wing, guarded by right opposite number Woods, steps past Woods to the baseline, then backs out, back to the top of the key, Jewett. Jewett against Kayla White gets a screen, and I think they're gonna get the Wildcats for a reach-in.
Bethune-Cookman foul, Chanel McDonald.
They are going to get Chanel McDonald for a reaches. They got around the screen. 4th team foul. As many fouls the Wildcats have taken in this ballgame, the Knights have never gotten into the penalty. They did good at the end of the second quarter where they got 4 fouls with about 3 minutes to go. Here's a quick jump shot off the inbounds play. Caitlin Peterson is just all over the court right now. She's up to 14 points. Her jumpers have been falling from 3, from inside, from mid-range. She's hitting them all.
Yeah, the Wildcats have given her space, and she's taking advantage.
Woods drives in, baseline runner, Edwards. Nice job by DeShante Edwards to get that one to go.
You can see a lot more of that from the Wildcats, moving without the ball and creating space without the ball in your hands.
Nice backdoor cut from Kariana Woods to set that one up 61-47. Under a minute to go now, third quarter, Jewett, left-hand side. Peterson got the ball stripped by DeShante Edwards, but it comes right back to Gibson for the Knights. And that's what we see DeShante Edwards do a lot. Rifle a pass into Acott, who spent most of the third quarter on the bench. Out to Peterson again. 3 is good.
That was a good defensive possession from VCU. Some great help defense inside, forced the kick out. We had a hand in on the three. Just an even better shot.
Peterson, man, Peterson only averaged 2 points a game last season in Indiana. She is showing out right now in her first game as a UCF Knight. Kerrigan Dunn drives, 15-footer short on the left-hand side. Acott with the push pass ahead. Peterson now in the lane, gets it blocked from behind by Taylor White, who stares her down, but the ball doesn't go out of play. Stepping through is Burns. Bricks a shot off the glass. Wild carom all the way out to midcourt. It last touched a Wildcat, and it'll be Knights ball. 4 seconds to go in the third quarter. 64-47, the Knights lead.
Knights ball.
17-point lead for the Knights. That's their largest of the game. The Wildcats have mostly hung around within 15 points until the last couple of minutes. Burns, long three, catch and shoot, no good as the quarter expires. We go to the fourth quarter. UCF 64, Wildcats 47. Last frame of the night coming up on the CatEye Network. Stay tuned right here on YouTube. The Wildcats are back, and we need your help to pack more gym. Come out and support your Wildcats in the home opener as BCU men's basketball hosts Trinity Baptist this Friday, November 10th. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Right back here at Edition Financial Arena on the campus of the University of Central Florida. Michael Travello, Bryce Oinowski bringing you all the action as the Wildcats are down 64-47 against the UCF Knights in the opening women's basketball contest of the season. Knights in the all-black go right to left. They'll start with the ball to begin quarter number 4. Left-hand side, here's Maya Burns. Acott in the lane. Kick out. 3 from Peterson. Left-hand corner, good. Everything Caitlin Peterson has touched today has turned to gold, up to 20 points on 8 of 14 shooting.
She has come alive in the second half.
Yeah. 67-47, largest lead of the night for UCF at 20 points. Here's White, left-hand drive, floating it up, off the rim twice and no good. Ball out of bounds. Ball will remain with the Wildcats. The arena filling up a little bit here. It was kind of a sparse crowd early on, but it is a doubleheader as men's basketball for UCF hosts FIU coming up after this one. So the student section is filling out, and the rest of the gym coming in to watch the end of this one. White out on top, steps inside, 15-footer, got it blocked. And then a grabbing foul underneath is going to go against Bethune-Cookman. It's going to go against Chanel McDonald.
Kayla White just 3 for 12 from the field. She does have those 3 assists. I think with the way her night has gone, I kind of need to shift into more of a distributing role. She's made some good passes tonight. She's done a good job of driving that lane and being able to kick out, but she just hasn't seen that shot fall yet.
And I'll tell you what, we have not seen as much Chanel Wilson as we thought. 22 minutes, that's not even tops on the team. Cariana Woods has played 25. Knights in the front court. It's Peterson again from the wing. She hits another one. There's almost nothing you can say at this point. Everything she's touched has gone in this second half.
She's got open buckets. She's gotten contested buckets. She's gotten inside, outside. She's just about done it all.
70-47 as the Knights off to a 6-0 run to start this fourth quarter. Offensive foul, a charge against Kayla White as she drove the lane. And you can tell that Kayla White is very frustrated right now.
Yeah, and not a bad idea necessarily, just a little overly aggressive, going too strong to the hoop like that. But that's more, I think, when the shots don't fall, you need to try to get your way to the three-point line or to the free throw line or kick that ball out.
70-47, Knights back with the ball and the lead. Acott, kick out, Peterson again. Oh, excuse me, that's Burns. It doesn't matter, it's another 3. They have been drilling the wing threes in this second half. For the game, 9 for 21 on three-pointers for the Knights. 73-47 the score. White drives, stops at the free throw line, now picks her dribble up. Right-hand corner 3, too strong for Kerrigan Dunn. Long rebound, right-hand corner, Maya Burns for the Knights. Jewett dribbles it up. And you wonder when the Wildcats will just go to the deep bench and try and get some people some minutes. This is going to be an and one. Jewett drives the lane around the right-hand side and gets the and one. And this is the first time in the game, Bryce, that it really feels like the game has kind of gotten away from the Wildcats. They've been close at every other turn except for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, UCF has kind of heightened the pace of the game. The Wildcats kind of been struggling to get back, get into their positions, kind of falling too victim to trying to collapse on that paint. The help defense has kind of cost them a little bit just because the shots are falling for the Knights. So when you're collapsing in on the middle, there's multiple players out beyond that arc or there for those deep jumpers, and they've cashed them in. There's not a whole lot you can do about that.
We see Chanel Wilson check back in, and then a couple of Wildcats getting ready to check in. I think I see Chariot Johnson maybe down there. It's a long way to the scorer's table from where we are. But maybe some of those players. No, Amariah Tucker is coming back in as well as Kerrigan Dunn. Tucker came in, hit 1 3, and then left again. She's only played 6 minutes. She's 1 of 1 from the field, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc. The and one is good for UCF. And BCU head coach Chanel Creighton takes a timeout. Creighton, the native of Atlanta, this is her third year in her first head coaching job. She's been an assistant coach at Hampton, Kennesaw State, UNC Asheville, William and Mary, Colgate, Oberlin, and Oglethorpe. So she's been all over the place, and now in her third year at Bethune-Cookman. And last year was a major leap from year 1 to year 2. Are you expecting another major leap from year 2 to year 3? Because there's 90% the same roster for this women's team. Theoretically, they should play better as a team. They should have more success as a team. Where do you see this season as kind of a career trajectory for Chanel Wilson?
Well,
sorry, Janelle Creighton.
I think it's a big one. I mean, make no mistake about it. Year 3 is now you have no longer the excuse can be made that, oh, these aren't my players. This isn't my team. My system's not in place. You've got the players, particularly a leadership type player in Chanel Wilson, who is there to kind of push your mentality, your overall output as a team. I think a lot of the times last year we saw when the Wildcats were hurt the most is by mistakes that shooting themselves in the foot more or less. A lot of missed jumpers, missed free throws. In other words, this team has another gear that they can get to if they can lock in, play great fundamental basketball, and really adapt and perform well within that system that Coach Creighton has tried to establish. And it's a good roster she's put together. Like you said, a lot of returners. It'll be very interesting to see what, if anything, these newcomers can provide, especially Chanel McDonald with all the minutes she's gotten tonight, to see what they can add to take this team to another level. But again, make no mistake about it, this is a big year for Coach Creighton and for this program.
Wildcats last year forced 20 turnovers per game. The Knights have only turned the ball over 10 times with 7:55 to go in the contest. They turned the ball over 17 times. They've turned it over 13 times tonight. So you see kind of those stats averaging out. And, of course, the Wildcats play a lot of big-name programs early on in the year. UCF, Florida. They don't play a really, really big high major program after that Florida game, because then it's Georgia State, Bradley, Jacksonville, FIU, Warner, Johnson, and Trinity Baptist, a couple of non-D1 games, then Valparaiso, NCA&T, and Mercer to close out non-conference play. There are some winnable games in there. I'm not talking about the non-D1 games, but teams like Iona that played the Wildcats very close last year up in New York, teams like Jacksonville that played the Wildcats close last year up in Jacksonville, you know, Florida International game was kind of close last year. So, and of course, North Carolina A&T and Valparaiso we don't know anything about. But the Wildcats, if they continue the trajectory, especially if they played how they played in the third quarter tonight, 20 points, held the Knights pretty well on defense, I could see them stealing one or two of those games.
Yeah, and, you know, it might as well be like banging your head against the wall, asking a coach an overarching question about, what's non-conference play mean to you? Because it's always some version of, we're going to see where we're at as a team, get that benchmark, try to kind of grow ourselves, grow our relationships with each other, and, bottom line, prepare for conference play. But I think a confidence boost would be big time for this Wildcat squad, a team that maybe above anything else missing last year was that playoff experience, that big game experience. A lot of new players got there, weren't familiar with the territory, so if you could steal some big-time non-conference wins, that could go a long way to some confidence come conference play.
Wildcat basketball going left to right here in this fourth quarter. Chanel Wilson back on the floor, crosses the time stripe. She's guarded by Caitlin Peterson, the hot hand right now for the Knights. Wilson pulls up along two, yes. Just right in the face of Peterson.
That mid-range jumper game was just so critical to her last year. There really was no spot on the floor she couldn't hit from. Like you said, kind of been staying away from her a little bit, maybe trying to run the offense, get some attention elsewhere.
A-squad still on the floor for the Knights. Acott drives inside, gets the foul. Wildcats wanted to travel as she skipped between McDonald and Tucker. That's McDonald's third foul, so we'll see what the leash is. I mean, it is the fourth quarter, so I don't know what the leash is for head coaches with foul trouble and all that. And Knights will inbound under the basket. Quick catch and shoot for Peterson. I think that's the first shot she's missed in this second half. Knights do get the rebound, though. It's back in the hands of Peterson on the left corner. She gets a screen, and it's a moving screen from Kelly, and it'll be Wildcat ball. You could see that from a mile away, right? Damani Dorsey was just kind of standing there, and Jayla Kelly just ran her over. Wildcats into the front court now. Here's Wilson on the UCF logo, now moves left. Guarded by Peterson. Dances past Peterson, goes baseline. Close it up, and good from underneath the basket. And now it's time, starting to see the Chanel show that this team kind of turned into on offense a little bit last year. Into the paint. Here's the center, Jayla Kelly, working on Dunn. Dunn wins the battle, no good. Kelly gets her own miss and the foul. Didn't put it in, but she'll go to the line.
Yeah, just a little bit of feet shuffling from Chanel McDonald there. She stood strong to start, got the nice contest on those shots, but again, just kind of kept those feet moving, which resulted in the block.
And it's so tough when you're going against someone that's 6'3", when you're only 5'11". Those extra couple of inches really do make a difference. We have not seen the 6'2" Taylor Gibson much tonight. Good luck on Thursday as the Florida Gators boast their starting center at 6'6". I was doing my research for that game this morning.
And, you know, with Kayla Clark figuring not to be a part of that game again, still battling some injuries, it's going to be tough. It's a team effort to try to kind of contain that. We'll see how the Wildcats' defensive approach, what that looks like heading into Thursday.
Chanel Wilson out, Kayla White in. After 2 for 2 from the line goes Jayla Kelly, pushing the UCF lead to 78-51. Knights have outscored BCU 14-4 here in the fourth quarter after a 20-point third from the Wildcats. Deshaunte Edwards kicks. Kerrigan Dunn a wing three, splashes it down. And that's something that Kerrigan Dunn has done a couple of times tonight, that catch-and-shoot jumper. Catch-and-shoot triple from the opposite side. Caitlin Peterson again in transition. 81-54. And after being close for the majority of this game, it's all Knights in this second half. It's really just this fourth quarter. Catch-and-shoot three-pointer straight on from Omariah Tucker. She's 2 for 2 with 2 threes tonight. 81-57. Knights back on the ball. Here's Peterson. Peterson against Edwards. Kicks it to the post, and it's turned over. Tucker gets the ball. Pushes it ahead to Kayla White. White in transition at the free throw line. Kicks right side, and a three-pointer is blocked. It was Kerrigan Dunn trying to get it. Acott all alone. Steps under Wilson and misses the layup.
It's the first real mistake UCF's made in transition in this game.
Kayla White back on it for BCU. Right in front of her own bench. And it's a timeout for Janelle Creighton, and BCU down 81-57 with 5:33 to go. We'll take a quick timeout and be right back. This is Bethune-Cookman women's basketball on the CatEye Network. Advertise with Wildcat Nation. BCU Athletics is offering sponsorship opportunities across the CatEye Network. For more information, you can reach out to Bethune-Cookman Athletic Communications Department at BCU Sports Info at Cookman.edu. That's BCU Sports Info at Cookman.edu. Lots of opportunities to get your business on air with the Wildcats. Basketball season all winter long, and then you've got spring season coming up with baseball and softball as well. Live from Edition Financial Arena, Wildcats trail the UCF Knights 81-57, 5:30 to go in the ball game. Wildcats on the ball, attacking the basket to viewers right. High post free throw line. Here's Tucker. Tucker drives against Acott, and she gets it to kiss off the glass and in.
A good night offensively for Tucker. She's success just about everywhere on that side of the ball. Again, she could be a real X factor this season for the Wildcats. We didn't see a lot of her last year. See what she can provide on that offensive end.
Shoveled under the basket and out. It'll stay with the Knights after it tapped off the hands of Kayla White. Tucker, 3 for 3 tonight, and 2 for 2 from beyond the arc for 8 points.
She hasn't really been a focal point of that Wildcats offense, but when she's gotten her opportunities, she's gotten open shots, she's taken them and made them.
Acott shovels it underneath the basket to Ware backs all the way out to the three-point line near wing. Now she's double-teamed, rolls across into the corner. Open three for Jewett. Good.
Yeah, kind of another tough possession there where the Wildcats' help defense is kind of selling out at the top of the key, leaving the shooter wide open in the corner with the way UCF's hit that.
Wilson underneath. Shot blocked. Getting it back is Tucker. She can't hit. That's her first miss of the game. Wildcats looking for something fast in transition. It's not there, though. The Knights do hit in transition. Quick pass under the basket from Burns to Gibson. Could be Ware to Gibson. The Wildcats, there's 9 assists tonight on offense. Tucker now the focal point of the offense, but gets it blocked by Acott again, going to her left in the paint. Acott ahead. Peterson, a 3 in transition. It's good again. Peterson up to 29. On 11 of 18 shooting and 6 for 10 from beyond the arc. I mean, that's incredible. Wilson drives, floater, left hand, no good. Lid on the basket for BCU. In transition again, Peterson lays it up and in. Nice pass from Acott.
And UCF just getting just about whatever they want offensively for in this game. The Wildcats kind of breaking down a little bit, maybe starting to see that fatigue in that first game of the season.
BCU takes the timeout. It's all Knights now, 91-59. And if you're the coaching staff for BCU, what do you take from this game, right? The score is now lopsided, even though early on it was close, and it's kind of broken down to individual one-on-one basketball, not really team ball on the offensive side.
Yeah, Mike, I think you kind of just look at it and looking at that box score, UCF is 9 for 13 from three-point range in this second half. You kind of have to wash your hands a little bit of it and tip your cap to the other team for shooting the ball so well, but you also put that emphasis on guarding that three-point line, making sure to contest all of those shots, because, again, when you get to conference play, the shots aren't going to fall because there's not shooters like that capable at that level in this conference across the board. So you make sure you kind of stay strong defensively. We saw a lot of great flashes, a lot of great sustained quarters even of plays defensively for the Wildcats, just staying on every ball, getting a piece of a little bit of everything. As the kind of fatigue gets set in, the later we've gone in the game, shoulders maybe getting slunk down a little bit as the score's gotten out of hand. Maybe we haven't quite seen that jump to the ball, that level of ferocity from the BCU defense, but there are plenty of positives to take away from an opening night matchup here.
Knights 10-0 run over the last 112. Peterson 31 points on 12 of 19 shooting, 6 of 10 from beyond the arc. And Peterson, the junior transfer from Indiana, a big unknown for this Knights squad. Man, I'm guessing Satia Messer has a big smile on her face saying, well, I got a diamond in the rough here. Because nobody else on this Knights team has more than 14. Kelly has 14, and that's about it.
She's been just about everything they've needed in the second half.
Wildcats back on the ball. Cariana Woods drives, turns on their pivot foot, puts it up off the front of the iron, no good. Acott the rebound for UCF. Tamia Ware brings it up for the Knights. Jewett down low. Acott gets her own miss, and a foul down inside as she was battling with Nia Jordan. It's going to be a baseline inbound. It's going to be a foul on Jordan.
I think she wanted a jump ball there.
Chanel McDonald, 4 fouls. Chanel Wilson, 3 fouls. Nia Jordan now 3 fouls. DeShante Edward, 3 fouls. It's been a tough night on the defensive end for BCU. Acott at the line. She gets her first. Acott, the freshman from Ottawa, Canada, and has performed very well in her first collegiate start. 3 points, but has done well on the defensive side, has 2 blocks and 2 rebounds. Correction, 2 blocks and 10 rebounds. Chanel Wilson, step back, free throw line jumper left it short. Knights get the rebound with a good box out from Gibson. 3 minutes to go, 93-59, your score, UCF on top. Jewett plays it all the way back to midcourt. Ball cycled around to Burns' left-hand corner. Burns to the nail, Acott underneath, Peterson, good. Friction, Taylor Gibson just lays it in, and the ball movement, just getting the defense to move and finding the open man.
Taking advantage, just chucking that ball over the head of Nia Jordan. Not much she can do about that as a defender.
Jordan drives, thinks better of it, kicks to the corner, now left hand. Now she's got to get the ball away. She stands on her pivot foot. Edwards around the edge, baseline jumper too strong. Board for UCF for Jewett. Last 3 minutes here, 2:20 to go. And the Knights, give them credit, have not taken their starting rotation out. Long 2 from straight on for Burns, no good, but Acott follows up and cashes in the offensive board, and the Knights are about to hit 100 here, 97-59. Wildcats just 38% from the floor tonight. Wilson, 3-point land from left corner, no good. Just a desperation heave from Kayla White. Knights try to get to over 100, flashing through the lane. Leaving it short is Ware. Offensive board, Acott puts it up, no good. Foul after the whistle, and Acott will go to the line.
And Acott, especially late in this game, has really kind of had the paint all to herself. She's got that extra height, that extra level of physicality that she's been able to be there for just about every pass, make whatever she wants happen, but she's got some great footwork down low, and it's a credit to her for cashing in on those opportunities.
So we've seen everybody except the freshman Chariot Johnson for the Wildcats tonight. Haven't seen her, but we've seen Edwards, White, Woods, Tucker, McDonald, and Jordan, Dunn, Wilson, Dorsey, Langston. We haven't seen the other true freshman, Gabriella Stevens. So the 2 true freshmen not on the floor tonight for BCU. Missed the free throw opportunity. Wildcats get the rebound. DeShante Edwards trying to go coast to coast, whistling a foul before she went into her layup motion, so it'll be an out-of-bounds play for the Wildcats. And I know the Wildcats are high on both Chariot Johnson and Gabriella Stevens. Johnson, a Sarasota, Florida product, and Stevens from Flint, Michigan. Both of them played volleyball in high school as well as basketball. Cariana Woods to a open for three. Chanel Wilson, she hits it from the left-hand corner, and the Wildcats are over 60 points tonight, 97-62, 122 to go in the contest. So you could say the Wildcats struggled, quote-unquote, on offense, but still put up 60 points. Acott underneath, short-changed her layup, got her own miss, and she'll go to the free throw line for two.
Just out-physical there in the paint. But, Mike, you said it. I mean, you look at the score. To put up 62 points on a defense like this with so much more size, so many more, so much more of a supporting cast off the bench, and that higher caliber of player maybe than on a bench at a program like BCU, to be able to put up this many points on a team that at many times struggled offensively last year in BCU, it's certainly promising, especially when Chanel Wilson hasn't necessarily been the catalyst for a lot of that. And
the Cats averaged 60.7 points per game last year, so they are actually over their season average last year against UCF. And maybe that signifies the Wildcats offensively are turning the corner. Chanel Wilson does lead all BCU scores with 13, but then there's 10 from Dunn, 9 from Jordan, 8 from Tucker, 7 from White and Woods. So that's a decent spread on the offensive side as Acott hits both free throws. 99-62, 108 to go in the ball game. I'm not sure if the Wildcats gave up 100 last year. I don't have that stat in front of me. To my mind, I don't think so. Driving inside and getting the foul is Deshante Edwards, and she is someone who got a couple of fouls early and has not featured as much as maybe she would have liked to tonight, especially in the offensive side. But Edwards 4 points, and both of those coming on nice backdoor cuts where she kind of snuck in under the block. So the Wildcats did give up 100 to Florida State last year. That contest was 113-50. And I watched that game back this week just to kind of prepare for this game. And even though the score is similar, it never felt like that game felt like the Wildcats had no chance didn't deserve to be on the same floor. The Wildcats deserve to be here tonight. They've showed out. They haven't gone away.
Yeah, a lot of times, Mike, I think when you see the difference in programs like this and the caliber of player to UCF versus here, it's consistency. It's being able to play at a high level consistently. So if you see flashes from a BCU squad like this tonight, that's a great sign going forward.
1 of 2 on the free throws from Edwards. Mid-range jumper good from Jayla Garrett, from Jayla Jewett, and that's 101 for UCF, 101-63. Here is Daimani Dorsey, right wing, hands to Edwards. Woods, pick and pop for three from Chanel Wilson. No good, bounced out of bounds on the rebound by Dunn, and it'll be Knights ball with 27 seconds left. And with the shot clock off, I think the Knights may just dribble this one out. But again, score, maybe you think that you kind of expected the score. But there are a lot of positives to take away from this evening for the Wildcats. As 19 seconds left, the Knights will come into the front court with it. Tamia Ware dribbling the ball ahead of Cariana Woods, but she will not attack the rim. Handshakes start to go out. The two coaches meet in front of the benches as this one ends.
That's the end of the game with the final score. Your UCF Knights 101.
As the Knights win 101-63 behind a dominant performance by Caitlin Peterson. 31 points on 12 of 19 shooting, 6 of 10 from beyond the arc, and that's Chanel Wilson-like numbers there, Bryce.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't necessarily see that output from Chanel Wilson tonight. Of course, don't necessarily take a ton away in certain aspects from a game like this, Mike. I think the number one question, or maybe the two biggest questions, at least to me, that you see in this non-conference schedule for the Wildcats is going to be solidifying their defensive identity. Tonight you saw maybe a little bit too jumpy in certain aspects, getting in foul trouble early, which with a player like Chanel Wilson or Deshante Edwards, you just can't afford come conference play. You cannot lose them. later into these games, especially in some of these bigger conference swings later in the year. I think number 2 is going to be who's going to score the ball when Chanel Wilson is not scoring the ball. And that doesn't have to be a singular player or two. It needs to be an offensive scheme that is putting people in a chance to succeed. You know, obviously you miss Kayla White tonight, Kayla Clark, excuse me. I don't know how much of a factor she makes on this game, considering she's still probably undersized compared to what UCF is bringing out there. But to be able to run that offense, we saw some of that tonight, to be able to get points, you know, putting up 63, get points when Chanel Wilson, the shots aren't falling, maybe she's in foul trouble. That's going to be such a massive tell about how the Wildcats are going to fare come SWAC season in a month or so.
Here are your final scoring totals from tonight's contest. First for Bethune-Cookman, Kayla White had 7, Cariana Woods had 7, Chanel McDonald had 4 and fouled out. Nia Jordan had 9, Chanel Wilson had a team-high 13. DeShante Edwards with 5, Mariah Tucker with 8 on 3 of 6 shooting, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. And I think if they can get Tucker involved more so as she continues to rehab that knee injury, that could be that second scoring option that you could need going down the stretch in some of these conference games.
Absolutely, to be able to catch and shoot or score off a short dribble, or even just be able to space the floor and create opportunities for other players who maybe are not as good at getting that own shot. She could absolutely be an X factor. We thought we'd see more of her last year, dealt with that injury. It's up to her to really take advantage of that spot and see what we can do offensively for the Wildcats this year.
Kerrigan Dunn had 10, good performance for her, 4 from 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from beyond the arc. And that's, again, somebody that was just a freshman last year, didn't play a lot, probably will have a larger role this year. Damani Dorsey and Kamara Langston played but did not score. And for the UCF Knights, Layla Jewett had 14, Maya Burns had 10, Echol Acott 7, Tamia Ware 9, Asia Todd 8, Taylor Gibson 8, Jayla Kelly 14, and Caitlin Peterson 31 points, 12 of 19, 6 of 10 from beyond the arc. Everything she touched went in tonight, and sometimes you just run into somebody with a hot hand like that.
Yeah, and as soon as those three-pointers started falling, it started clicking for her on all sides of the ball. She was outstanding.
Once again, your final score, the UCF Knights 101, the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats 63. No rest for the weary for the Wildcats. They are back on the floor on Thursday as they will take on the Gators of the University of Florida in Gainesville at the Exactech Arena. We'll be there for that one. The CatEye Network will be live on the radio. You can catch that one at 6 p.m. Eastern. For Bryce Hoynoski and our entire crew here at Addison Financial Arena, my name is Michael Travello. Thank you so much for your company this evening, and have a very pleasant rest of your day.